This is
Make it plain.
Make it plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make it plain.
Get woke.
Ladies and gentlemen, time for another edition of Thursday Kos, one of our favorite segments. During the week, the host of the podcast, The Brief, the founder of the largest online progressive community, dailykos.com, and the founder of Civics with a Q, Markos, joins us. Hey, buddy, on this 1 year anniversary of the Dobbs decision. First of all, how are you?
Doing great, Mark. How are you doing?
Just
I'm
fine.
getting ready to go on vacation, so I won't talk to you for a couple of weeks. But yeah, you're catching me right before I get on my flight.
Well, congratulations. Glad you're going on vacation and gonna get some respite from everything. We all deserve it. Hopefully, nothing too crazy will happen while you're away.
you know, everything crazy is going to happen. I'm going to be in some remote areas of Central America. And I'm going to digital detox. I'm going to do what I don't think I've ever done it. I pretended to do it, but I don't think I've actually done it where I've gone over a week without internet. And I'm going to delete all my apps from my phone. I'm going to make sure that, because you're going to run into Wi-Fi. I'm going to make sure not to actually look stuff up. So stuff is going to happen in Ukraine. Trump's going to have like 2 more indictments. I'm going to come back and it's going to be a whole different world. So I know it's going to happen. I can feel it in my bones.
Can you do? I couldn't do that. I could not detach. I could never do that.
So I've never done it, and I think I can do it. But I'm traveling with my partner, and she's gonna confiscate my phone, and my staff already knows I'm going to be gone and out of touch for 2 weeks. I'm going to delete Slack. I'm going to delete Twitter. Can't delete the browser, so I can't. That's why I need my partner to hold me accountable. But yeah, no, we're going to be in some areas that we might hit some hotels or restaurants that have Wi-Fi, but it's going to be pretty remote stuff. So I may not even have a choice. If all goes well, I may not even have a choice. So I think I'm going to do it. We'll see.
Yeah, let me know how that goes, man. I don't think I could do it. I couldn't stand it. Because I'm just so tied in. I've gotten better, but for most of my life, my brain was that crawl at the bottom of CNN. And I did have to get control of that. I got control of that, so I'm not just like it's just not going constantly. But yeah, disconnecting. Good luck with that, man. I envy your ability to do that. I got to figure that out.
I haven't done it yet. Don't envy anything yet. We'll see.
All right. So as we said, this is the anniversary of the Dobbs decision. And this is timely for us to talk about this because I was talking to a mutual friend of ours the other day, another Politico, who doesn't seem to have the confidence in what the Democrats could do next year. And I was sharing with him what we've talked about, and this is still true up to this point, is it not? That every election since Dobbs, up, down ballot, what have you, we've won. That suburban college-educated white women are still making that difference. And as you have pointed out, not too terribly long ago, suburban college-educated white dudes are shifting somewhat.
Not only that, but young people, particularly young women, so college educated, they were key in. When you went to Wisconsin, when you went to Wisconsin Supreme Court race by 11 points, you could lose any group. It wasn't like any group was determinative. That's a pretty dominant victory. But young people voted in record numbers. So the suburbs voted Democratic in record levels. Wisconsin suburbs have been some of the last converting suburbs in the country. Everywhere else in the country, city suburbs are turning blue. Wisconsin was sort of the anomaly, and even now that's starting to change finally. And abortion was the defining issue. It's not going anywhere. And what's crazy is everybody says that elections are won and lost on the economy. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago, right? That's the conventional wisdom. Last year in 2022, inflation was high. job growth was strong, record levels, but inflation was high, and there was a perception that people could buy less with the money that they had. And so by conventional wisdom and by history, Republicans should have won. And the thing that overruled that process, or that history, that dynamic, was abortion, and then Donald Trump and the assault on democracy. Those two issues are not gone yet. But you know what's different now, Mark, is that people are feeling more optimistic about the economy. Inflation in the last couple of months has been at about 0.1%. Like, inflation stopped right now, month over month. Job growth remains high. This is, I don't know, economists are going to be all confused for a while, right? Because supposedly the more people have jobs, the more money circulating in the economy, the more inflation goes up. So inflation is actually stopped. Job growth remains at record highs. The unemployment rate is at record lows. And so we're starting to see this in the data. People are feeling more optimistic about the economy. So if you have an economy that is definitely working better for people, and you still have abortion, which single-handedly reshaped the political environment, and you have Donald Trump and his assault on democracy, I'm not sure what Republicans have to run in this at this point. And it's really funny. Navigator Research, they're a pollster. They have a question. I don't have it in front of me right now, so I don't remember the exact wording. But the question is, basically, are you happy with your earning power now? I mean, it's something like, and it sort of ties in inflation, how much you make at a job. It's just like job satisfaction. Are you making enough to get by? Sort of question, right? They do a good job of stripping out the partisanship, because the second you say you think Biden made your job, made your economic situation better, every Republican is going to say no. But in this question, it's just about your job. How do you feel about your job? Only like, it was like the latest numbers, only like 6% of Americans are unhappy with what they're making at work. And with the Republicans, it's 0. Every Republican question was thought that their own job situation was great. Now they're gonna come out with ways to rationalize why it's so horrible that Biden is destroying America. That's fine, but they're a small minority. Reality is that economically, the country's in a decent place, in a better place than it's been in a long time. You can definitely answer the question: are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? In the affirmative. I don't think anybody can honestly answer that. No, we were worse off today than in 2020 during the COVID crisis. And just down the line, I mean, immigration. You have the Biden administration, changed the rules. Republicans claimed that the border was going to be flooded. The exact opposite has happened. The number of people trying to cross the border has gone down. Why? Because Biden's administration now allows people to file for asylum in their home countries. You couldn't do that before. Nobody wants to risk 1,000-mile journeys with coyotes and drug dealers and cartels and all sorts of dangers and predators, and spend $15,000 or life savings for a Central American or a South American family to cross the border when they can do what they were planning to do at the border in their home countries. So things are better. This is an incredibly competent White House. So what do Republicans have? They can't run on the economy. There's really not much on the border. They'll make up some, border caravan or some nonsense, of course, right? They always do, but it's not really getting any salience. Republicans themselves in Congress are at each other's throats. And I mean, even like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene are going in after each other. And then you still have this issue of abortion. Which, when Democrats did not have all those other things, abortion by itself, along with helping a Trump, won us the 2022 election. That issue didn't go away. In fact, Mark, it's even worse now because people had time to realize the impact. They now realize that while the issue really worked for us last year in states where abortion was under threat, people in California and New York, they did not turn out and vote in equal numbers because they thought, we're safe. We're California. We're New York. Nobody's going to change. Now we see Republicans and that judge in Texas trying to ban abortion nationally. So now people are realizing, okay, this is not an issue that is just about Mississippi and Alabama and Ohio, Indiana. It is an issue that affects me no matter where I live, even in my safe blue state. And that's where the House is going to be won, because we lost the House in New York and in California. And so it is a dramatically reshaped. And Mark, you know what's the most amazing thing to me, media wise, is seeing the abortion horror stories in People magazine. I mean, it's one thing to have them in Washington Post, New York Times, but
You've been saying that.
broadly speaking, nobody reads those things. And statistically, right, 10 million people out of 300 million, 80, 90 million people read People magazine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a thing everybody reads. That are not us.
Right.
We may read People. I'm not saying don't read People. I'm saying we read a lot of things. There are people in the country that only read People magazine and Reader's Digest, and
Right.
and the horror stories. People are starting to realize that abortion isn't about somebody irresponsibly getting pregnant and not wanting to deal with the consequences. Right. The caricature of the right. That abortion has real medical applications. And the horror stories are just absolutely gut-wrenching and brutal. And they're being spread in the places where most Americans get their media. That's why support for abortion is going up nationally. In the face of this, it's going up nationally. Poll after poll shows this. So Republicans, they're doubling down because they're idiots. They're doubling down on making it even more restrictive when America is becoming more and more supportive of those rights.
Yeah, no, that's clear. And I was saying to this person that's Shakarius. Now, what's the latest? The latest big piece of news, if big is relative. Does this Hunter Biden stuff have any traction? Does that hurt?
I already forgot about it.
Really?
It's just what I do for a living.
Well, there it is. Right. Right. I already forgot about it.
Nobody gives a damn. Literally, nobody gives a damn.
That's
not even Republicans. They're going to pretend to care. They don't care.
Right.
It doesn't affect anything. It's irrelevant.
That's never really worked I don't remember when a president's relative, I know they tried it before, but it never really works. Because I go back to Billy Carter, and that ended up being, people ended up being sympathetic, I think, in that situation. They thought, we got it with Billy Carter. It didn't work. So I don't know that. And, Hunter's clearly got some stuff going on, bless his heart. But yeah, I don't see how. Is Biden going to have to say something? Is it best that he doesn't say anything about it?
I mean, let the justice system work its way through. I mean, Mark, we're not Republicans. We're not going to sit there and reflexively defend the guy because he's in our team. That kind of nonsense that the Republicans do. It's just not in our blood, right? I mean, I think it's very clear that this is not. They fish for anything to charge him with, and this is, it's weak tea, because it is weak tea. Roger Stone did the exact same thing. Roger Stone, the dirty trickster on the right. Donald Trump's buddy, Roger Stone, did the same thing, and they didn't even. I don't even know if they charged them. It's just not. They reached to find something, and everybody's the Republicans are complaining that it's two systems of justice, and it actually is, because normal people would not have been charged with it. They had to really, really, really dig through and search and for something to charge. That said, he did break the law. Presumably he agreed to it, and he's paying the consequences. I don't care. I don't care if he broke the law. Good. There shouldn't be two systems. Roger Stone should have been nailed for this stuff. If it's on the books, Roger Stone should have been nailed on it, just like Hunter Biden should be nailed on it. All that said, it literally has zero bearing. Now, you have a lot of Republicans, some of them in the House, still claiming that there's, evidence of big bribes that Hunter Biden, Joe Biden got from Ukraine. And it's all these crazy conspiracy theories. And but that's what they are. They're not going to, they're not landing. It's a thing in that far right bubble. And the thing about that bubble, Mark, is that they rile themselves up over stuff that doesn't exist, right? And then they wonder why the rest of the country doesn't follow along. What it does is just makes them even more detached from the things people really are talking about. And right now they're talking about abortion. It's really funny. It's the year anniversary, and there's an organization called Ad Impact, I believe. Ad Impact. Ad Impact tracks advertising, political advertising. And usually it's like this many points for the Republicans. This is how much money the Democrats are spending. But what they did is they did a report on abortion in political advertising. And the report, I was just looking at this as we were ready to come on. The report found that 35% of all Democratic ads in 2022 mentioned abortion. Only 3% of Republican ads did. And the bulk of that 35% was in October. So it seems like only a third of ads. But, for the first few months, because, the decision came down, in June? So, the impact really wasn't being felt until I think Democrats realized in October, like, holy crap, we have an issue here, right? And in October, it's like, boom, like everybody's mentioning abortion. Republicans, nothing after spending 50 years, crying about abortion. And that's the stuff that people want to hear about. Like Hunter Biden. I mean, you have a Republican talking about Hunter Biden, they just sound crazy. Because nobody understands why that's relevant to their lives. They don't know how that affects them. Why they should even care. And a lot of these Republican partisans, they're going through the motions. They're pretending to care. They don't really care. So, and to your point, Mark, we tried to make a big deal out of the corruption of Jared Kushner, and of the Trump sons, and frankly, it didn't really get a lot of traction. I mean, people don't like Trump because of Trump. The kids, they could be fuck ups. Nobody cares.
Anniversary of Dobbs today. Also, we all are sitting with bated breath. Not sure what time is going to come today, but possibly a ruling on affirmative action.
No, not today, Mark. They already released the 4 rulings for today. And
I didn't know. So I knew they released something. So that's it for today? They're not going to do anymore? Okay.
It was 4 of them, so it was a pretty heavy day, but none of them. There's one water ruling that went against the tribes in Arizona, which is, it's a messed up ruling, but it's everything else. There's a RICO one. It's nothing, none of the big bombshell rulings. And usually they seem to wait till the last minute to release those for whatever reason.
Right, good enough. So we've stayed that. Man, so you're talking about people. Before we go, I want to do this. Maybe I need to look at People a little bit more. Speaking of People magazine, and Markos has been making this point. I don't know if many of you look at People, but maybe that's a good gauge of what people. This is a headline in People magazine. Kari Lake appears in Mar-a-Lago more than Melania Trump and, quote, practically lives in a suite, parentheses, exclusive source. And I saw that somewhere else, but then I just saw it on People since you mentioned. So Kari Lake, is he carrying on with Kari Lake? And what about Nancy Mace? Now, Nikki Haley clearly is trying to be somebody's running mate, but the rumor is he's going to pick Nancy Mace to be his running mate. Although I don't know why on earth any of these young ladies would want to be caught up with somebody like that. It's like people, individuals who have attraction to the gangster. I want to be with the bad guy. You definitely with the bad guy.
Trump's a cult leader, and cult leaders always are surrounded by their women psychophants for whatever weird power they exude. I mean, Trump is clearly has cult leader vibes, and that's what that is. It's so weird, though, right? I mean, it's just weird. These people are weird, and once you strip out the danger, and the corrosiveness to our system, and the threat to our democracy, they're just weird, and they're all cut up on grooming this and everybody's a pedophile. I mean, it's all projection. They're all freaking weird. Normal people don't go around thinking stuff that they go around thinking. So I really look forward to the day when the Republican Party finally throws off Donald Trump. It's going to happen. It's got to happen. And I don't know how much they can keep losing before they realize that they need to cast off that 20-30% of their party that is so destructive, and then relegate them back to the land of just weird. Just be weird over in the corner. Go to the dark web. Have your conspiracy sites, whatever. Wear tinfoil hats. We don't care. Just get out of our politics. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it in, cat turd. Cat turd, ridiculous, right? It's the name of a Twitter account that has 2 million followers. It's a big name. It's like Elon Musk sucks up to this account like nobody's business. Cat turd may literally run Twitter at this point because Elon Musk is just desperate for cat turd's approval. Cat turd is a MAGA Trump psychopath, 100%. And he's been on a rant this year because of the Hunter Biden no real charges decision. And he's also angry at, I don't even know what set him off, but he's been going on a rant about how it's pointless to vote. So we need more of that. Let's have let's have Elon Musk amplify yes, if you're a conservative, it's pointless to vote. And they had this whole conspiracy theory about the Uniparty. Have you heard about the Uniparty?
No. What's that?
All right. The Uniparty, capital P, Uni, capital P party, one word. The Uniparty means that there is a deep state DC, and there's literally no difference between the Republicans and Democrats. They're just putting on a show to pretend to be political differences. But in fact, they're all scheming together and working together to do deep state things. Now, they never really defined what the deep state things are, loss of freedom or some nonsense. But Cat Turd and then, seemingly Elon Musk are really falling into this Uniparty thing. And so the voting is all a charade. There really is no choice. And you know what? Great. Don't vote. I don't want these people to vote. They're too stupid to vote. Democracy really works best with an informed citizenship, and that's not what they are. So we need more uniparty adherents and Republican conservatives saying that they're not going to vote anymore because it doesn't matter. They're just voting for the same party. They're voting. There's no difference between Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden, and we would probably be better off. So anyway, that's the conspiracy theory of the week. It's actually people markets. Again, once upon a time they were like relegated to the corner. They were easily ignored. They were like shouting into the void, and now because of Donald Trump and QAnon, they're like amplified. It's freaking crazy.
The other thing too is he's still running, obviously, and there's no one in the field that is really cracking any of the numbers. So I mean, he's gonna what is gonna prevent him from being the nominee? Nothing, I don't think, is it?
Yeah, it's right now Donald Trump is in the driver's seat for sure. If he has 3-4 indictments, maybe people might start thinking like, yeah, this is not working from a practical standpoint. There's been polling. There's one poll that said that 40% of Republican primary voters would rather vote on principle than electability. And so there is clearly a percentage of them that they don't care if Donald Trump is clearly headed to a loss. And Donald Trump, they believe he's a cult leader, right? So they believe everything he says. They'll say, poll shows that I'm beating Joe Biden by 20 points. No poll exists. But his followers believe that, and they repeat it, and it becomes their reality. So they think that Donald Trump is electable, when clearly the polling's showing, I'm not going to say an easy Joe Biden victory, because it's not going to be, and I need to be very clear. Donald Trump can win, but he's not right now. I would rather be Joe Biden than Donald Trump, given the numbers, given the data. So I'll just leave it at that. But Ron DeSantis is cratering. I mean, I was saying this from way back. I'm like, once people see once they see him, he's not gonna survive. He has no presence. He wears high heels. He has a thin voice. He looks like a robot. He has the weirdest laugh. Like everything about him is just weird. He wouldn't even say what his last name is pronounced. I mean, what kind of weird is that you're afraid to tell people how to pronounce your last name? And but what's going to happen, Mark? What's going to be interesting is that as these indictments pile up, you're going to have Chris Christie's doing his kamikaze campaign, and he's landing some real blows. Fox News just had an interview with Donald Trump with Brett Baer, who just totally eviscerated Trump. I mean, it was I mean, we haven't seen anything that harsh from CNN or anybody else, right? It was brutal. So he's starting to take some real hits, and that's gonna take a toll. Has to take a toll. Trump is being more and more unhinged. I mean, he's not well. I don't think he's well. He doesn't look as confident and cocky as he used to. And what may happen, and I'm right now, I'll just say it's probably likely that Donald Trump's the nominee, right? But if we're going to talk about what may take him down, if he starts, if Chris Christie is landing some real hits, Donald Trump's losing his mind. It's looking rough. It's very, very possible that Republicans could get somebody like Brian Kemp, Kemp, right, governor of Georgia. It's very possible that they can draft them into the race. And Kemp has shown that he can win suburban white people. He did it last year in the Georgia governor's race. And then Republicans can actually get themselves a more serious candidate. Now, I don't think they would this year, but Republicans at some point are going to have to cut out that bag of tumor. And the sooner they do that, the sooner they go back to winning. This is what happened with Nixon, right? Didn't take them long. They got rid of Nixon. They had Jimmy Carter for 4 years, and then they won the White House. It doesn't, people forget quickly. People want to move on. And so it don't take long, but they got to do it at some point. So why wait? So I could see a scenario where they pull up some, they excise Trump. They finally are able to get rid of them. Yeah, they lose in 2024, but at least they set the table to be competitive again in 2028. And then you have a 2-term Democratic president. It's harder to hold a House. They can make gains at state legislatures. That they can rebuild from the bottom back up and look to 2028, 2032 to be back in the game. They can't do it as long as Donald Trump and his people are in charge of the party. So,
and then they can't do it as long as they're censoring people like Adam Schiff. I mean, that's just so stupid. What does that get you?
I mean, it's temper tantrums. They're children.
They're all competing to be on the crazy shows that are even more crazy than Fox's now, Newsmax and everything else. Last thing, and I promise, no labels. Have you had a chance to look at that, and what do you think about what they're doing?
There's always a no labels. There's that future forward party with what's the kid who ran for president, New Yorker.
I don't know. Is that
the Asian guy?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can.
With a math.
Yeah, math.
There always is these people. The thing about these like centrist parties that we need a third way is that they never work because there is no consensus on what that third way or that different way or that no labels way is. It's whatever they believe, right? So if you are a Tea Party person who thinks the Republican Party has sold out to the Democrats or to big business, all right, you're third way. You're an independent. Yeah, okay, you are. Maybe you are. Usually they're not, but let's pretend you are. Then you got somebody who's like a Bernie socialist, democratic socialist, right? Who doesn't believe in a Democratic Party because they've sold out to big, corporate interests. Okay, great. You're an independent. These are two different people. And that's just those two groups, right? Then you get the anti-vaxxers, the RFK type of, Robert Kennedy Jr., conspiracy theorists. You get all these crazy people. And so you have this mishmash of people who don't adhere to the two-party system, but they're not all the same. And so anytime somebody says we need an alternative to the two parties, it's what they believe. Mark, I can give you the alternative to the two parties, right? Me and you, we can sit there and come up with the third party that really, it's our ideal party, right? And it'll look more like the Democratic Party, but we'll probably take it further to the left. We'll have some policies that the modern Democratic Party wouldn't touch, and we'd have a lot of fun. But it'd be a party of us too. Maybe we could get a couple of dozen people to join us, but that would be it, right? Because maybe that Bernie socialists, we haven't gone left enough for them. Obviously, the Tea Party right isn't gonna embrace us. So this idea of third parties is always a bit of a joke, and people overly stress about it. So we might lose people to some Joe Biden supporters. I mean, these especially at the presidential level, I mean, these parties will take 0.001% of the vote. It's really not a factor. And I think we're seeing that with Cornel West. And I forget, he's a green. It's some people will start fretting about it. The number of votes they take. I mean, okay, we could have a Florida 2000 where the Green Party was literally the margin. Ralph Nader was the margin, losing Florida. Those situations are incredibly rare. And I think in 2000, we weren't as polarized as we are now. I think our people who are anti-Trump realize that there's really one choice, and it's Joe Biden. And either you vote for Joe Biden or you are enabling Donald Trump. And I think that's very strong. And so the number of people that vote Green, that vote alternate parties, has really gone down in recent years. The exception to that at the more local level is the Libertarians. Libertarians managed to get 1 to 2% of the vote, and that's actually helped us in several key races, including Montana. Will that continue this year? That's a good question, right? Because of that polarization, that extreme polarization that we're seeing right now. So just in general, politics has changed so much that the third party is just not a threat. It's not a factor in any real way.
All right. Markos, you're right. I mean, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Markos, Melissa's folks with us once again for Thursday. Enjoy your vacation, man, and your unplugging.
Digital detox, hopefully. Hopefully I can pull it off. My partner told me she's taking my phone away if I ever try to look at the internet. So and she can do it. She can detox in a way that I can't. Okay. So she might hold me. She might hold me honest. The only reason I would want the phone is to take some pictures, and so I can grab the phone, take the pictures.
Yeah, you gotta take pictures.
I think this might be a test. And then in about 2, maybe 3 weeks? I think 3 weeks. We'll talk, and then you can ask me how it went, and I'll give you the honest response.
How it went. Okay. Safe travels, my friend.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
All right, you too.
Thanks for getting woke and listening to Make It Plain. As always, perform an act of kindness on behalf of an elder or young person. Write a letter to a sister or brother who just so happens to find her or himself incarcerated. Offer libations to the ancestors upon whose sturdy shoulders we all now stand. And above all, give thanks to the God of your understanding by whatever name you call her and him. All God asks of us is that we give each other love. Thanks for giving MIP love. And please remember to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. If all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.